Hello. I'm in the Home Depot parking lot, but I just had insight. I don't know, just something happened, so I have to share it. So these are the words. What brings you closest? What brings you closest? What brings you closest? I went through an interesting kind of transition recently where I was completely fixated and focused on absorbing intellectual, conceptual information about ascension and spirituality and all of these things. And I hit a point where I stopped because I recognized, which was awesome that I was able to recognize this, I recognized that it wasn't helping anymore. It was actually bringing me further away, and it was actually more of a distraction and an avoidance out of a distraction and an avoidance of where I am currently and dealing with certain feelings and emotions and discomforts. And it was an avoidance of being in that void space again, being in the unknown. And I kind of am, my friend Angelica kind of explained it as like, it's like you're on a bridge and you're going over it, but you're in like the center gap part where like you have to make the leap to the other side of the bridge, but you're kind of in this middle void space where you don't really know what the next iteration looks like, but you know that what you were doing is not working any longer. And I just kind of had the realization again because I was listening to some intellectual information, and I felt the desire and the urge to turn off the podcast and turn on music. And when I turned on the music, instantly I felt closer to myself. And I recognized that anything can act as the catalyst to bring us closer with ourselves. It doesn't have to be just these things that we think we have to do in order to be closer with ourselves or in order to realize something. That anything can do that. It's just we judge things as what can and what cannot do that for us because of these ideas we have about things. But if we let go of these ideas and judgments that we hold about what is spiritual and what is not spiritual, what is beneficial and what is not beneficial, so many things can bring us closer to ourselves, to God, to Source, to the truth. We just have to listen to what is calling us forth. And so many things can be that. I do want to put a caveat that there are things that are healthy and supportive, and then there are things that are destructive and not so supportive. So use your discernment with that. But lately, music has been pulling me closer to this presence. And being up in the head and trying to understand things has actually been pulling me out of this presence. So it's been an interesting transitionary period. It kind of happened in around November 11th, the 11/11 portal, where I made a pivot in my behaviors, where before I was listening to a lot of podcasts, I was really in my mind trying to conceptualize and understand things. And I was able to recognize that it wasn't helping, it wasn't supportive to this phase of my journey anymore. This phase wasn't requiring any more podcasts. It was requiring presence. And I was avoiding that because I was afraid. I was avoiding the discomfort of, being in this emptiness, not knowing how to spend my time just being in that nothingness was like super uncomfortable. And also I was afraid that I would get off track if I wasn't listening to this information and completely fixated and focused on it all the time. I was afraid that I was going to lose my focus. So I was just forcing myself to behave in this one way, even though I recognized that it was pulling me out of presence. It was pulling me out of my connection. So whatever it is that facilitates you being in this presence, in this connection, in this state of beingness, the state of communion and connectivity, whatever it is in each moment that allows you to be in that state, feel that presence, feel that state, do that. Let go of the concepts and ideas that it has to look a certain way, that certain things are spiritual and certain things are not spiritual, and that you have to be so forceful and rigid about the way you do things. Do what brings you closest. Do that.